Hi everyone, let's just have the uh, lab for today. So I'm going to try making the monster plant we saw like yesterday in the lab again, and then we will make a UV map for it. Let me quickly bring the assignment here. Yeah, we are going to make a rather simple and similar model to this as you can see, but we are going to try to keep it in one mesh. You see here it's like created in many different meshes, but yeah, let's see how we can create it. And I'm not like claiming that's the best way to do this modeling, but that's one of the ways, and you can like think and like go for other ways to challenge yourself and learn more. Okay, so let's just start with bringing a very simple cube. I can make it like a bit bigger, like this. And the next step is I'm going to make it smooth to have a rather spherical object. But the advantage of having this cube smooth, like compared to a sphere, is that at the end we don't have two pole vertices. So that's good. If you want, that's one of the ways to start a modeling. And yeah, let's just go for a smooth here, and I'm going to change to 2 divisions here. Perfect. Okay, and I want my character to face forward, so Z is going to be the forward direction. What I'm going to do is to uh, start modeling, but first I'm going to scale the head a bit like this. Okay. Oh, actually not along this direction. Along this direction. I want it to be longer along the z-axis, okay, which is the front axis for me at least. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is to make the hole for the mouse. So I will get these edges here, then I will go to where is that? I think it's under. I have to find it, just give me a second. Where is it? Yeah, here under edit mesh there is an option called detach, so click that, but before that make sure that you have selected these edges. And when now you move this vertex, sorry, this face, like compared to this one, you see this brings all the faces with itself, but since the model is detached, or the faces are detached along those edges, you can see like now I have the potential to make the hole I wanted. So let's just go to the side view again, select these faces, and then like there are many ways. Let me just go and make it work. Like for example, I can move it up, or actually, sorry, these ones. I can move it up or rotate it or whatever that is, but I found it easier if I change the rotation pivot to the center of my object. So if you press D, it lets you to do so. I'm going to move it back and down, and press D to set it. You can do it with set like clicking on this button as well. They are the same. And here I'm going to rotate the upper part a bit. Going to do the same for the lower part. And whenever like you are finished with this pivot, you can just reset it. And now when you select, everything goes back to the center of your selection. Yeah, that's good. Now let's see our head here. Yeah, it seems good to me. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to select all these edges. If you just double click in one of them, if you haven't done an extrusion by mistake or something, you will see that all the edges are selected. Then you can extrude it and move them back. So I'm going to like make the lips or gums, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you can play with those arrows to place them better if you want. You can look at your model from different views to see how it's going. Even like that. Maybe it's, yeah, that seems good to me. We could also move them a bit like inward because I want to put the teeth here, so I want to have more space. Okay, and now I'm going to again select these edges. Let's just make sure that we haven't done the extrusion twice. No, that's good. Okay, I'm going to go to mesh, fill hole. Okay, so now I have filled this hole. I have to make this area inside, like I have to add some faces for the inside part. So I'm going to use the multi-cut tool. I'm going to select the two vertices on the very corner of my object. Perfect. So they are selected now. Now I'm going to select these vertices and connect them one by one. So I select and connect only 3 on my model. I'm not going to connect these two because then I would have a rectangle. Like if sorry, a triangle. If I do it, you see it, there I will have a triangle, which I don't want. Okay, perfect. So now we are at the good point, and it's the time to add some faces inside the mouse to potentially to have the potential to add the teeth next. So I'm going to go for insert edge loop tool to use it as well. So you can do this part with the multi-cut tool as well, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, with the where is that insert edge loop tool, click on this square and go for equal distance from edge and add 2, or maybe sometimes relative is working better. Yeah, but without edge flow is, I would say, better. That's up to you, but the edge flow would move the edges a bit as well. So it's up to you. Like if you want to keep it flat, you don't set that uh, option. Okay, let's just do the insert edge loop once again. Multiple edge loops here, and 2 is going to be enough. So you see the edge loops are added perpendicular to the edges that you select. So I'm going to select these edges to add the subdivisions inside the gum for adding the teeth. Okay, so let's just select these and those. Okay, so now we have all the faces for teeth, and again we have to use our friend extrusion. That is really helping us in adding details and stuff. Okay, so bringing them out. I'm going to keep this make them keep faces off as well, and I'm going to use these arrows to, or alternatively you can use, where is that? Yeah, that's to uniformly scale them along both x and z axis. Yeah, something like this would be good enough. You can make the teeth bigger if you wish to do so. Make sure that your object is not colliding with itself on the very back end teeth, which is, so I'm going to move them a bit further away from each other. Yeah, that's great. I like it. And we have our head with the teeth now. And now let's just go and add one set of edges here. And the reason I'm doing it is I want to make 2 very simple holes inside the area for the eye, as a very simple like technique for making eye. And the reason I am going for the component is then I can use the normal or the vector that is perpendicular to face to move them inward a bit, like this. Maybe not that much, but that's good enough. Let's see our model now. Yeah, that seems good to me. That could be better if we wanted to put more time on it, but yeah, that's, I would say, good enough. Can move it a bit more inside to see the eyes effect better. Yeah, something like that. And now what I'm going to do is to go for the neck. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do so. The first way is to, let's just put it in the world mode, try in the world mode, okay, is to select some faces like around here. That's up to you to select which one of them. Like for example these ones in the side view, or in the side view, yeah. You can then hold shift and extrude it like this by hand, and manually you can like for example rotate it a bit. Okay, just if you see the pivot is not the right position, you can edit the pivot there. That's simple. Okay, you can even like scale them a bit instead of rotation. That's up to you, but then you will have like not a uniform, what's that called, thickness for the neck. So maybe it's better to use the rotation still. Like here, if you're fine with the neck, we can, like for example, scale it down to make it flat and go forward. So that's one of the ways. It's up to you if you want to use it. Let me show you another way as well. We don't use curves that much, but only for this purpose it can help you. So let's just select the faces that we want to do the extrusion for the neck on them. So for example these, or maybe, yeah, but that's good. And then what I'm going to do under the curves, so we're in the polymodeling usually, but under the curves there should be a tool called EP curve tool. If you select that and hold V, let's see which one, yeah, hold V, you can put it exactly on that vertex. So I'm going to start from that vertex, and I'm going to make a curve out of that. Okay, the neck could be still maybe a bit longer, like this for example. Yep. And if you hold shift, it will like put them like either like in the left, exact left, right, up, down. If you need to like have a straight line, that's the way to do it. Yeah, but again, it's not like something necessary. You can do it manually as well. Okay, I'm going to select those faces again. I'm going to hold shift and select the curve as well. I'm going to do an extrusion here. So it extrudes that along that curve, but the only problem is the divisions are only one, so it cannot show you the curvature. So let's just change it to 6 or something similar to that. You will see now we have a perfect neck here, and I'm going to select these vertices and like make them like what to say, like scale them down along the y-axis to let them have the same y value in terms of the position. So now what I'm going to do here is to select these faces and delete them. Now, yeah, this is going to the base of the monster. So what I'm going to do here is to extrude that outward and make a, let's see, a circle out of it. You can do it manually as well, but to save time, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to, like, oh, sorry, what's that happening? What can I see? Yeah, it's here. Okay, I'm going to move it a bit to let the edges form better. Yeah, that's good enough, I would say. Okay, we can even like add more details here. For example, we can select these faces and extrude them outward to have a better path. That's up to you. Okay, now I'm going to get these faces, extrude them inward, sorry, downward I mean, and then I'm going to, like you see here, I don't hold the shift anymore because I don't want to do another extrusion. Yeah, so I'm going to scale them down like this. Okay, now we have the smaller circle down. I'm going to, what's that called? Yeah, use the mesh fill hole, under the mesh fill hole. Okay, and now I need to, if you remember, I need to like make quadrangles out of this shape. So as simple as this, we make a quadrangle here, and yep, that's going to be it for the modeling. Again, that could be a lot better, but it depends on how long you want to put time on it. But that's, I would say, complex enough for a good training in the UV map. So before going for the UVs, let me just quickly show you something and describe what are the terminologies and what things mean, and then we will come back for uh, like making UV map for this. Let me just quickly save it. Master. Yeah. And now what I'm going to do, and I encourage you to save your models, because Maya crashes easily, so you may lose your progress. So make sure that you save your model at each step if the autosave is not enabled. Okay, and now what I have to do is to hide this model for now. I'm going to hide this curve as well. You can also delete it if you don't want it. Yeah, let's just bring in a cube and talk a bit about what is the UV map. So if you go to the UV editor, under the UV editor, okay, if you select your object, you will see the faces there. So for example, if I select this face, you'll see that one. So these are the faces of your model. By the way, if you want to make a UV map, I would encourage you to have two monitors. That would really help you to do things faster. Okay, and then you can also see the vertices here. You see some vertices and also some edges are shared. It is because there are some cut lines. These white lines are the cut lines that would enable us and help us to project a 3D object into a 2D board. So that's how it works. For example, if you select this edge, if you can see the UV tools, like UV toolkit, you can hide and show it again, if that's not showing. And this is the UV toolkit. Here I can, after selecting this edge, I can cut it. So now I'm able to move it away. So these are going to be two UV shells, or it's called islands in the slides. And one more thing is, here, when you select a vertex, it moves freely. But if you select UV, freely, I mean it selects all the faces that are happening. But if you go for UV, you can select only one point to move it. That could be helpful sometimes. Just wanted to mention that as well. So I guess that's it regarding the UV map. But one more thing is, you can let me just find a box texture. You can see very quickly what's a UV map. That doesn't really matter which one, but I'm going to say one of them. That's good enough. Save image as document. Just give me a second to find my project directory. Okay, that should be done. And now what I have to do is to bring in the model. So I'm going to assign a new material to it. I just want to show it. It's not for this week, but that could be interesting for you. Okay, and now under the attribute editor, under the Lambert 2, which is my model here, going to go for file. I have to go and find the file there. Just give me a second. That should be under my images. Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, so I've saved it somewhere else. Just give me a second. So this is a mistake, so make sure that you save your images in your project directory, because then you can share easily share your projects easily with your teammates. Okay, so I'm going to open that, and this one is called the texture button. Would show you the texture. Okay, so the thing I think that really helps you to understand what's the UV map. So now if I select this cube, you will see, okay, so this face, not that one, for example, like this face, yeah. Here you see it just showing that exact area in the image. So for example, one of the ways to see a good cube is to scale it up, and this is not actually a good way, but that's possible. I'm moving. So this texture is going to be repeated like all around this like squares, but usually like 99.9% of the time we don't make these UVs. We always put all the UVs inside the main square. Since, for example, if you want to add a scratch over the box, you cannot do it. If you do it like on this image, it's going to be like repeated on the all faces. But here you can see, we can see a good uh, box here. So yeah, again, I encourage you to always put all your UV shells or islands inside the main square, this one. But that's possible to do something like this, and I just wanted to show you what does exactly UV map mean. Okay, so I guess now we are good to uh, like go forward. And one more thing is, when you have a good UV map, now the next step would be to create a texture. So you have to go to Photoshop or other image editing software to make a good texture for your model. Okay, and now let's just go back to our problem and see how we can make a good UV map for this model. Okay, so again we're going to go to the UV editor, select our object, bring in the, oh, I think I closed tools, show UV toolkit, yeah, to see the UV toolkit. Okay, yeah, something like this would help me to see things better. Okay, so if I select the whole model and then go for under the create menu, you should see the buttons for creating the UV map. So if I go for automatic, you will see I will see many small details, like I think these are the teeth. Yeah, so there is an automatic algorithm that will try to do as best as it can, but still it's not good. You see there are many parts. Sometimes, like if you select all these UV shells and saw them together, you will see like a very like a very distorted shape for their UV, and then when you unfold it, sometimes that works. Like, but here we are unfortunate and unlucky, and yeah, it's not working. So what I have to do then? One of the ways is to break your model into like smaller pieces. So for example, like I see that I have a head. So let's see if I can get a good UV map, a rather good UV map for the head, and then let's see if we can do the same for the body, and what about the pot. So yeah, uh, one way is this, like you break the model into pieces and try to make a good UV map for it. So let's just go to the side view. I'm going to try to select the faces on the head. So I'm going to select these, deselect these. Let's make sure that we haven't selected any face on the body. Yeah, that's good. And here, going to select these and select those. So these, perfect. Yeah, so I didn't select the mouse because mouse is also a, I would say, a rather complex model for itself. So we can, I argue that we can make it zoom up later. Okay, so now we have our faces selected. I'm going to go for spherical create tool. Okay, so here we have a good model, but not as we want. Like it is still like a bit weird. We know that's mouse, but the other parts are not really clear. But what happens? Let's see what happens if we click on this unfold. Okay, so it unfolds it, like you can think of it as a cloth. It's a bit folded. Now when you unfold it, usually you get a better look. Okay, so now let's just select this UV shell, move it left or right. So these are the move, the scale, and every tool would work in the UV toolkit, but if you know the shortcuts, it would be easier and faster for you. So W, E, and R are the shortcuts for move, rotation, and scale. Okay, now as I said, some edges are shared between two areas. So what I'm going to do is to solve this part. Okay, so it becomes into one, and this is also shared. So it's a bit weird, but this is like, you know, the faces are like distorted a bit, and their voices like facing a bit in different areas. So I'm going to also solve this, and then you will see it's going to be a bit complicated. Some faces are on top of each other. To fix it, you again have to unfold it. So I'm going to select this and unfold it. Now you see a good image, and that's actually a symmetrical image as far as I can see. So it's really good. Now, like if you pay some attention, this is going to be the chin area, this is going to be the cheek area. If you want to, for example, there are some effects. This is going to be the eyes. So yeah, with this, you will have a lot more freedom to find out like the places when you are like drawing stuff in the Photoshop, yeah, or any other uh, what's that called, software editing tool. Okay, so this is going to be it for the head. Let's just go for the other parts like the mouse. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to go back to the face selection. If you hold shift, you will select the ones, you will deselect the previous ones and select the other ones. So I'm going to do the same to select the mouse here, like, or alternatively you can uh, select these and deselect the ones that are like above or below it. Okay, so now I have the faces I wanted, and let's just think about which one is good. So we know that if you go for the automatic, we are not going to have a good time because it will break into many pieces, as you can see here, like many different pieces for teeth. So let's just try using the planner tool. Okay, so now let's just select it, move it away. Okay, I will like move everything back into main square. I'm aware that I'm moving them outside, and it's for seeing them better. Okay, now you see again like there are some faces, like for example this is a face over another face that are like over each other. This is again something that unfold can fix it. So if you press unfold, it will unfold it for you, and now you can see clearly. Okay, so that is the like the teeth. I know, like if I want to make it white, I have to like draw white colors here. If I want my gamma mouse to be red, I can draw red there. Okay, so that's also a really good model for the mouse. Sorry, a UV map, I mean, for the mouse. And now let's just go for the body. Okay, this is going to be the body. Yeah, it's good. It's perfect. And now what I am going to do is to use this what's that called, automatic tool again. So this is good, like you can either go for cylindrical or automatic, because yeah, but we know that it doesn't make it into many pieces, so that's good. So these four UV shells, as you can see, like you can select them from here as well. Okay, and that are the ones for the body. So let's just move them away and try to connect them together. Okay, so you see, even I select these faces, for example, I see, okay, so these are connected from there. So one way is to solve them, and then select the UV shell again, now fold it. Or the other way, sometimes that works, like it works better. If you select the edges and press the stitch together, you will bring the different pieces. You don't need to do the unfold again. Okay, so that's one of the pieces. Let's just rotate it. Let's just do it for the other two, stitch them together. Perfect. This is, I think, unfolded already. Yeah, this can be also unfolded. Okay, and now I'm going to select all these edges again, stitch them together, and you see again there are some faces going over each other, so I have to do the unfold once again. Okay, so that's a rather good UV shell for the body as well. You can like draw some patterns or colors for it, so that's good. Now this is the time for the pot. Okay, so you see only the pot is remaining, and it depends on you on what you want to do, but like let's see which part is which. So this one is on the top. Like if you can see, like you can see it's not sorry, completely circular. So what you can do is to use a planar mapping, but you have to set the tools there, like the options there. So yeah, I know that's along, like that's perpendicular to the y-axis, so y-axis is good. You can also use the base plane, so that's up to you. Like base plane and y-axis would usually work for most of the time. Let's just project it. Okay, so you see now we can see the whole circle here. Let's just move it away for now. You can also rotate it to make that part straight. Okay, and let's just do it for the bottom as well. I'm going to make it circle as well. Perfect. I'm going to move it to the right. Okay, and like the last part is these UV shells around the model. And what I'm going to do is to select the edges around. So I want to connect these UV shells to the bottom. I make it one UV shell. Okay, so I'm going to use the stitch together to bring them all bit together. Now you see it's like a inflated UV shell, like a projection of the walls of the pot and the bottom. If you want to make it like connect these two parts, you can still do it by sewing them together. So a stitch is used when the two objects are like the two UV shells are separate. But if you are doing it in one UV shell, you have to use sew them. And again, if you want, you can either unfold, or you can also, even if you want, go for a planar mapping, because it's like from the bottom or from the top, that doesn't really matter. What happens is uh, it sees them all in like a circle, so that's also possible. You can, again, as I said, unfold it or uh, make a planar mapping. I think I prefer the planar mapping, so let's just go for it for now and rotate it as well. Okay, so it's going to be a circle. Okay, so now you see, instead of like, I don't know, tens of UV shells, we have only 5, and I can tell you, like, this is the mouse, this is the head, this is the body, this is top of the pot, and this is the, like, the bottom. So like very clearly you can differentiate with the UV shells. And now you can either uh, scale them by hand, or there is a tool under the align, arrange and layout, and when you selected all the UV shells, you can press this layout to move them inside the sphere. That, like, you can still play with them and make them bigger to fit them better and use the space more. But one more thing is, if you are feeling that the like the scales are not true, I think to me it seems that that's rather correct. But if that's not, you can under the transform, you can go and find the textile density. If you press get and set, you will see it will change. Like if, for example, you prefer this, you just press get on this and set it for all of them. So yeah, it seems like, according to at least to the Maya, they're having a rather correct scale. And now what I am going to do is to play with the area to fit my UV shells as best as I can. The only thing is, make sure that uh, you don't scale them one by one. Just move them to wherever you want, like this, for example. Yeah, something like this. Just going to try and move them as close as I can be together. Okay, yeah, something like this. Move it again away. Move it here. Move it there. Yeah, something like this, and then you can scale it. Okay, so that's good. One more thing is, like, you may think that the scales are not correct. If you still feel that you have to do it by hand, that's easy. Like, you can, for example, see, okay, so are these matching? It seems matching to me, but if not, like, that text cell should do it, the work. But if not, you can, like, select each UV shell. For example, if you see or feel that should be bigger, you can scale it along this direction or whatever direction you prefer. So yeah, but that's going to be it. By this UV snapshot, you can save this image and use it as a filter in an image editing tool to what's that called, to use it as a as like as a filter to draw the texture and pattern and those stuff. But that's going to be covered in the next week, and I would say that's it. Yeah, but like one more thing is like make sure that you place all these UV shells as best as you can in the UV main square, and use the space as best as you can as well. Uh, yeah, and also for the assignment, uh, model this object or whatever object you prefer, and make the UV map for it as well. So make sure to like take a picture from both of your model and the UV map and the islands that are in there, and you see here as well all the UV shells or islands are placed inside the main square. So usually like around 1 2 something like 6 5 UV shells is like something normal, but more than that is not normal. So make sure that you have as less as uh, much like as few as you can of those UV shells. This is also a really good guide if you want to create a rather good but simple lizard. So it goes over all the steps, and also there is a good summary at the end that tells you what to do usually for making a good UV map. So yeah, I guess that's it, and thank you all.